Okay. We're live. Good evening, everyone. This is the regular meeting of the Ad Hoc Academy Community Center Building Committee. This is Tuesday, November 26th, and I'd like to call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the approval of the prior minutes from November 12th. Do I have a motion to approve? Second, I'll second. And any corrections or updates? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the minutes as submitted, say aye so I can hear you.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, you got it? Aye. And so the meetings are accepted as submitted. Thank you, Jeannie, if you're anywhere here for putting the minutes together and adding that one item that AJ asked to add from the last meeting. The next item is the chair's comments. I'd like to thank everyone for being here, but other than that, I have no comments. The liaison reports, I see Al.
Good afternoon, everybody. I think the only update I have, John will probably report on it later. The Historic District Commission met last night and approved the design, which means they will be recommending to the Planning and Zoning Commission that as far as they're concerned, the exterior design of the building conforms to what they believe is proper for the historic district. They made a couple of very minor suggestions, but other than that, it was good news last night. I should further add that the chairman of the Planning and Zoning Commission, Carol Snow, happened to sit in on the meeting, and she made some very favorable remarks about the project as well.
Thank you, Al. Thank you, Carol. Say thanks, Carol, for being favorable, and thanks to the Historic Commission for their approval. Their recommendation to approve. Got it. Any other? No, there's no other liaison present. The next item are subcommittee updates, and theater environmentals. I still don't think schematic design is right. Theater environmental and design, but I think schematic design is one thing.
I
think we said that last time.
Past that.
And we
Yes.
wanted it to be removed from the list.
Okay, so we'll make a note that for this meeting, I'm going to update schematic and design to schematic design. Eliminate.
Let me just clarify, there's no need for that because we're already in the construction document.
Oh, there's no need for any of it.
Schematic design.
there's-
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Schematic, we are, in the last meeting, we voted to, or we approved taking it off the list.
Taking it off the list.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, sorry. I thought, my recollection of the last meeting was that only one of those words was needed. But if now you're
Maybe
telling me
design-
nothing needs to be.
I mean, I don't know, design's pretty much done too at this stage, to be honest.
Is there still a design subcommittee?
There is.
There's the interior, I thought it was a finishes subcommittee.
It's all
I
one
would- I
group,
would-
so.
I would think it could stay active though until we get past planning and zoning. Maybe.
If I may, I think it should stay active, at least through FF&E, furniture selections, fixtures, finishes, all of that.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
makes sense.
that's fine.
Okay. So the subcommittees that we have are theater, environmental, and we're gonna call the third one design until we complete finishes and any internal, all the internal design, is that
Yeah.
now correct?
Yeah.
Okay, now that we have the names correct, do we have an update from the theater subcommittee? I know that we had, at the last meeting, we had not received the information, the final information or the final updates from the stage design consultants.
I did get that from QAM today, the report, the next stage design, final report, if you will, so I will issue that out to the committee tomorrow.
And is Joan, no, Joan's not on this.
No.
Was there anyone else on theater?
John Lamronde was it?
Yeah, probably. John, if you could specifically send that, if you send that to everywhere, but could you make the note to Joan that being the last standing member of the theater subcommittee, we might want to hear something on the next meeting.
Okay.
The second. Who is on that? That was
That's
Dave.
just Dave right now.
Just- It was Dave and Joe Paradiso.
Right.
And so it's just Dave. John, is there anything that has come up that might be of interest before we just move on past that?
Not that I'm aware of. I know there were a number of questions raised during the RFI process that, we're looking for clarifications on the site drawings and septic system, but, Brian can speak to that in more detail, but nothing specific that I'm aware of.
And lastly, design, Felicia, up to you if there's anything to report.
No, we're just waiting for the results of the bid at this point.
Oh, you are,
I
okay,
can always help out.
okay.
If you need a. Felicia's probably a safer bet though.
Can you guys, wait, what? Can you guys hear me?
Joe didn't realize I was on that subcommittee as well.
Oh, sorry, AJ.
So he was asking you, and I said, there's probably a safer bet, but if he needs a second opinion. you
And,
can-
and
Okay,
again, if you're tuned in, but AJ's sitting like directly to my left.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have tapped him on the shoulder and asked him.
Right.
But I opted for the other option. I took the other option and asked you, Felicia, but thank you for the update.
Joe forgot that.
Who's on?
Matt Gordon, our Board of Finance liaison.
Is he on?
Yeah, I didn't see him before.
Okay.
So it's-
Welcome, Matt.
Thank you. I just wasn't elevated, but I appreciate it. Yeah, and then there's no Board of Finance liaison reports. Thank you.
Joe, if it's appropriate, I'd appreciate receiving a copy of the theater report.
I would say that's okay.
It'll be public.
It'll be public.
Yeah.
We could,
I'll send you an email. and we can-
and yeah, if you just send it directly to,
Thank you.
once it's on our docket, once it's reported in our docket, it will be. Any other subcommittee information? Any other comments on the subcommittee work? Hearing none, moving on. Remove and review and approve the invoice packet, if applicable. And it looks like you're solo on this one.
So, move to approve, move to open the discussion.
I would second. Give me that. Okay.
All right, we have 3 invoices to review today. 2 from Fuss and O'Neill, invoice 264074. We are only a portion of this invoice will be charged against the building budget. And it's the coordination of the abatement contractor bid fee.
What do you mean by, Fuss and O'Neill is two line items? Which of those two?
Invoice 264074.
Okay.
The portion that we are approving is just a portion of the total invoice, because the Brownfield grant is covering other components of the invoice.
So we're approving $725,
$1,725 for the coordination of the abatement contractor bid.
Somewhere else in this town, there is someone approving the balance of that invoice.
Right.
That's the one that's totals $4,040.
Right, and our portion of it is $1,725. Second Fuss and O'Neill invoice, 266174, is entirely ours, $14,912.50 for revision of the design package and some expenses. Correspondence.
Any discussion on that or any questions on that? I believe we went over this at the last meeting also.
I have, no, this is,
This is it.
This is new. The correspondence in meetings, looks like it's a fixed fee.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is different than like how QA&M in Collier is
it's not,
doing it
it's
where
not
they,
like mileage or
right, they,
making copies or, you know,
they're
that's what
just
they-
saying, we're expecting to do X number of meetings.
we contracted for $3,225.
Right. So I presume that we owe that regardless of how many hours they spent on meetings, right? That's how it should. Or is that a not to exceed?
It's a not to exceed.
Not to exceed.
It's not to exceed.
Correct.
Okay,
So, yeah, I mean, if, it's possible that it could come in for less than that,
yeah,
but it will not be more than that. Unless we, unless they ask us for more and we approve it.
yeah, I guess my only comment with this one is that it's not really broken down. If it's a not to exceed, it's supposed to be a sort of expense based. Usually we see so-and-so went to a meeting, cost this much, we had this correspondence, cost that much. They're sort of billing in bulk. We're trusting that whatever their correspondence is appropriately documented somewhere, but it's not documented here, at least from what I can see. So I'm wondering if that's something we want to request from Fuss and O'Neill.
We certainly can ask. I'd love to defer approval of this invoice until we get that information.
That's a question.
Question.
I don't know if that's my decision to make.
Well, it's a committee
State,
decision.
if that's what you
It's
want.
committee decision, yeah, so,
Whether to approve or not, you can certainly make a recommendation. Or we can approve it as was originally moved.
Or we can defer.
Or we can defer. We'd have to make a separate. Right now, it would be approved. If we just let it drop, it would be approved from the original motion.
Oh, except we will then vote.
Right, oh, yes, that's true. It's included, it will be included in the vote.
Or we can remove it.
yeah, my recommendation, I don't have any problem with the task above it, the revision of design package total. But I would recommend that we set an expectation that any sort of time and materials style bills show how they arrived at the number that they got to for due diligence.
John, are you examining the agreement?
Yes, I'm looking at this just to see how it is worded. does not specifically reference not to exceed price. Revision of design package states revised bid package, coordination 2 meetings, attend pre-bid walkthrough, RFI responses and addendums for the $13,300.
And what about the 3,225?
Is- That is also referenced, well, it's noted it's 15 hours for correspondence and meetings for the $3,225 amount. That is their amendment number 3 portion of that scope.
So is that an amendment to an invoice? Or in other words, it's already passed?
That's
Or is it an
amendment
amendment to a proposal?
to the original proposal. Yes, they
It's-
have
it's
added
changed-
amendments to the original proposal.
It's basically change order number 3
Yeah, it's a change order, yes.
to the original agreement. So what I'm seeing is that we have a couple of possibilities here. We can defer approval of this invoice until we get until we find out if they will provide us with background information, which we can then review at the next meeting. Or we can approve this for payment and request that they give us an accounting with their next invoice of everything that they've applied to date.
Hours expended today.
I prefer the latter.
You prefer to approve.
I prefer to approve now, but ask,
Ask for backup.
and not just for this $3,000, but for all amounts in the invoice. So so I would approve now, but ask for more information as we go forward. Would that be what you,
And not just for whatever the next invoice is, but for the project to date,
right,
so we can see the total of
if
the
they,
effort.
any totals that they haven't already given us, well, actually, they could add the things that they have already given.
Okay, so I'll request the backup documentation associated.
Well,
with
I
the invoice.
don't know, is there agreement on that we,
I'm okay with that.
I'm fine with that as well.
okay?
Okay with it too.
Great.
What was that, Felicia, I didn't hear you.
She said that was.
I'm okay.
And Peter, you said you're
I
okay?
agreed. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so that's that invoice. We have one more invoice. It's from QA&M. They are billing us for the balance on the construction documents, professional services, for the MEP design change, additional services that they have contracted for with us, and for the $13,200 for the next stage theater feasibility study, as well as some expenses.
The total of the two invoices marked here, which are
Well,
104,000.
it's one invoice,
One invoice
but it's
broken out.
coded separately because it's contracted services is one line and expenses is another line.
Anything unusual in this hand, or is this a standard billing?
Well, I mean, there's,
It's a big number.
it's a big number, but it's, the one item that I thought might be worthy of discussion is the invoice date is October 31st, but the committee, has not yet received the study, the feasibility study.
From the,
And it was apparently received this afternoon.
Today, yes. I mean, the study was dated. There's a hard copy of it. the study was dated August 28th. I just had not received it from QAM until today, because I followed up with Brian on that, so. So it was dated August 28th. I just received, Collier's just received it today from QAM, so.
Had anyone else received it? I mean, was it sent to?
Don't,
QAM reviewed it.
QAM reviewed it, yes. They received it, reviewed it, but I think they just forgot to forward it on to, at least to Collier's.
I mean, I have no doubt that the report exists.
Yes, I mean,
And that it did
Great,
exist prior to October 31st, but I think we would just sort of raise that for the group to discuss.
Considering the date, and the fact that it was received by QAM, I believe we should just move forward. Which are proposed.
Okay,
Is that
Yeah,
are you all right with that?
any other?
no, the date helps.
Online people, are you okay with that?
Could you repeat it?
That the issue being discussed is the theater feasibility study fee, total of $13,200. We're being invoiced for it with an invoice date of October 31st, but we, the committee, have not received that report.
So the proposal is not to pay that amount, the 13.2.
The report
No,
was actually received and evaluated by QAM, but not forwarded to us. So the proposal, or what's on the table is to approve the invoice in total and not accept that, not take that out. But we can certainly discuss it. If anything that they have done is not appropriate.
I'm personally comfortable with paying, because the report was done, it was received by the architect, who was the group that really needed it on a timely basis.
Peter, does that answer your question?
It answers my question. I'm a little bit hesitant because it wasn't forwarded to the committee. It's in fact 2 months old now, and should have been reported to the committee paying for it.
Is that the report, QAM, if you're on the phone, is that the report that we reviewed at our initial theater meeting that we had at Collier's? Or is this an updated report that we have not seen?
No, it's the same report. I'm going through emails and trying to see if I did in fact forward it at some point in time.
So I have seen it, but I've only seen it in person, I believe. That might just because you did forward it, and because I saw it in person, I didn't open it. But I, as a committee member at the theater committee meeting, have seen it, just to reinforce that it has been done.
Yeah, I would have to go back to my my workstation and dig through the emails there. It's a little bit difficult on my phone. But I believe it was sent. I'm looking at an email. I can't see everything on it, but I believe it was sent to Joan, yourself, Felicia, and Joe. But not the entire committee.
Okay, so I mean, for the sake of this invoice, I think that kind of closes the fact that we received the report. At least some committee members received it as it pertained to being able to discuss the theater. And so we should pay for the services, right? Does everybody kind of feel that way? Whether or not we've seen the report or anything, at least it was distributed to the committee members on the theater committee.
I'm comfortable with paying.
I am also.
I agree.
I do too.
I think we ought to follow up and review that report with the whole committee. It would be appropriate because there will be some add alternates for the in the bid package.
correct.
So the whole committee needs to see it, and then if we need to discuss it in an open meeting. That sound appropriate?
Yeah.
Agreed.
So John, could you put that as a item for our agenda for our next meeting? Please.
Yeah, I don't think Jeannie has either.
So that's it for the invoices.
Any further discussion of invoices? All in favor of approving, say aye. I can hear you. Aye.
Aye.
Hi,
Okay. And I signed what I'm supposed to sign, and I will slip that under, since we're here in the offices, I will slip that under the door to Jeannie. Right. We're up to number 8 on our agenda, Collier's update. John, take it away.
Okay, I handed out the updated milestone schedule to those people that are here this evening. There is not anything that is different from the last schedule that was handed out, just updating the current status. As I think you all know, the third addendum was issued today. We received about 120 questions total. As far as RFIs from the bidders, a number of those were, duplicates, but we had, I would say probably, I think probably 8 or 9 vendors, GCs that had asked questions specifically. As far as I know, we still have 22 GCs out of the original 23 that are still interested in the project. We have not received word from any others since the initial GC had dropped out. So we're hoping that number is still relatively accurate. Again, the third addendum, final addendum was issued today. Bids are due December 10th. And Brian may be able to speak more to this, but again, a lot of the questions, just clarification, several associated with the civil package. Some of those drawings were updated and revised accordingly. A couple of spec sections were replaced and or updated. And a number of clarifications regarding the front end bid document requirements, forms that they would need to submit, etc. That's pretty much all I have at this point. We just are now waiting for the bids to come in.
So I had a question about one of the addendums, and I wonder if it's something I wait for QAM's update, or am I done by now?
Well, you can bring it out and we'll, we could easily move to the next section.
Yeah, so on the third addendum, the subcontractor section, we waived a requirement to document proof of experience and successful completion of projects. And I'm wondering why we did that. What changed?
Well, there was a conflict. There was one passage that referenced that was required. There was another passage that referenced it was not. So
Okay.
that's just a clarification of that. I spoke with Peter Anderson on that, and he said that was not something that was required for subcontractors. It's different for the GCs, but as far as the subcontractors to the GC, that was not something that was required.
Can I chime in as well?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's the GCs do not have the subcontractors under contract at the time of bid. They collect the numbers from the subcontractors and they'll hold them to it. But there's a buyout phase once we announce that we'll be awarding the contract, and that's when everyone sharpens their pencil and the GC starts writing contract with the subcontractors. So they really don't know who they're going with at the time of bid. So it's really not a fair question.
Okay, but there's still an expectation that there's some due diligence they're doing with the subcontractors.
Correct, yes.
Right.
And at the end of the day, they're liable for their subcontractors' actions
Yeah,
and performance.
I mean, the GCs are reaching out to subcontractors typically that they have worked with in the past and they're familiar with.
yeah,
They're not, hiring some guy off the street and just, pickup truck to, work on a project. So they're familiar with who they're getting the bids from. And to Brian's point, once they are awarded the project, then they start, really getting into the, nitty gritty and the details with the subcontractors to work on getting the best price for them, for the GC.
okay. I just wanted to make sure we're setting an expectation that they are responsible and bringing
Oh.
folks into the project. And we weren't waiving any requirements that they have to do that.
No.
Thanks.
Yep, sure.
Any other questions from Colliers or QAN update? We can merge the questions for those. I do have a couple of questions, but anybody want to go first?
I don't know if Brian wants to add anything else before you ask.
Well, I think the two main items have already been touched upon. The final addendum went out today, so I can finally catch my breath. And the Historic District Commission accepted the package or the design last night. We still have the final ACA, which will be on the December 10th, same day as bid opening, but we already had 2 informal meetings with them, and no major concerns there. And then the final P&Z hearing will be on the 17th. We've received the local health department approval of the system, and we're waiting on the state.
The system being this septic.
The septic, yes.
Couple of, since I've been going in, I need to understand this. Does the website include the latest version of all the drawings, or is it the original, still the original, and you have to track the exception or the addendums to know?
Yeah, so
Is this?
there will be a reconciled bid package at the time of contract. But what I've been doing was only issuing sheets that have changed and not the entire package. In the addendum today, I reissued the table of contents and list of drawings, which identified all changes through all 3 addendums. So if you look at the table of contents, it'll say,
That's an addendum 3.
Correct.
Have any of the contractors noted any exceptions? And I don't know if I'm using the right language, but there are things that if this isn't a question, they just can't, they're not going to be able to comply to. And is there any pattern to that, if there is?
Well, I included in this addendum the statement that they can have a qualification statement that clarifies any assumptions that they've made. Today was last week was the last day for RFIs. So, at this point, I'm not going to be issuing any addendum. So if they notice anything from now until bid opening, they'll just have to clarify it in a qualification statement, where they can say, this is the bid amount that I'm seeing on paper. If you want me to make this change, which I believe needs to happen, it'll be X amount of dollars, and it'll still be an apples to apples bid, but they'll identify what they believe needs to be modified in one way or the other.
And I guess what is, will we see someone says, well, I just can't comply with something? I will not,
I also include the caveat that they cannot modify the bid package just because they want to do something else. The qualifications statement can't override the contract documents.
they can say it, but it doesn't matter.
Well, we can just throw out their bid.
They don't get the award if it's substantial.
Yeah, if they say they want to use vinyl windows instead of the specified, then we'll say sorry.
do any of the questions, the Q&A that you've gotten, I know that you put them together for an addendum. Would any of them require a weigh-in or the committee to weigh in on them? Have you seen any of those?
So nothing that I believed was very significant. Nothing that I saw as a design change. It was clarifying systems. We didn't change the aesthetic or the use of the project at all.
So the answer to that is no. There was no
Correct.
nothing that the committee would have needed to approve. If there was, if we come to that, is there room in the timetable to do that?
It'll be a negotiated. We don't have time to issue additional addendums. So anything moving forward will have to, if you see a pool of 3 bidders that are low, and you want to work with them on value engineering or getting revised prices on anything, it'll be more of a closed bid environment at that point, just to see what you need to do. Is there anything that you're seeing in particular that from the addendum today?
I have, the addendums are voluminous. At 200 some pages each, they don't get, and a lot of it's in, it refers back. So no, I can't say that I would have pulled anything from that. But I was concerned with the septic system as one that might, where we might not be able to get full compliance to what we were looking for.
So the site work was the most heavily asked about scope of work. It does help that we've had the local health department approval on the system or guidance on the system. So yes, there could be some additional comments from the state, in which case we would just ask the GC to price out through his subcontractors, and we would still have a competitive cost for any changes. Because the GC still has not awarded a site package to anyone. We could still get a revised number without being exposed to price gouging.
That's all I had. Thank you, Brian, John.
I do.
I'm walking away. I'm walking away satisfied that this is under control, and I can sleep better at night. You're gonna make a comment. Sorry.
Yeah, I just have 2 kind of curious questions. One, on the kitchen equipment change, installation includes plumbing connections and alternate pricing. I want to make sure that the rough ends we're still assuming rough ends.
Yes, but you'll have the plumbing trap and the supply lines that go from the stub end to the. So it's not that the alternate isn't just give me some equipment and dump it in the floor. It's you actually have to connect it.
Cool. The other one is the kiln is asking for 3-phase power. Are we using 3-phase power for anything else in the building?
So I relayed that to my electrical engineer, and he said yes, they have that somewhere adjacent for whatever reason, and it was already in the scope of work. We were just clarifying what the an RFI that somebody asked.
I guess what I'm saying is, is the kiln the only thing that needs 3-phase power in the whole building, or do we have other things in the building that are using?
There are other things, yeah.
Okay. I mean, things like air handlers and compressors would also need 3-phase. And the good news is, I believe I've looked at it, there's 3-phase runs down, 3-phase power supply runs down Route 1. right in front.
Okay,
front of the
so
building.
there's
But
no,
the connection is gonna be underground, right? That's that still correct? It's gonna be an underground connection from some point into the building?
Well, we have the transfer or um, yeah, on the southeast corner, going into that's where the transformer is, and then going around the corner to the electrical room.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's, I would call something like that, but.
Yeah.
It was, you know, we're not stringing wire.
it's not overhead. It's,
Yeah, we're not stringing overhead wire. It's,
No.
it's gonna be underground three-phase.
Yeah.
And it should be able to, I don't know where those sources are from, but three-phase goes right down Route 1, so they'll be able to source it from someplace close enough.
well, there was an original question about whether they pull from Route 1 or they pull from Academy.
Academy Street.
And there was some state implications to doing it off of Route 1. So we'd have to maybe go under the road or cut the road to do it. So we'd have to work with the DOT. So they were trying to do it on Academy. I don't know if that's
Academy, right?
still,
Yeah.
if we have three-phase available, we can do it from Academy.
Yeah, we originally had it further away from the building, but then when we realized we had to do it from Academy, that's where we ended up with our spot.
Okay, and we verified that we have three-phase on Academy.
I haven't looked. I can't say that I've looked. I mean,
It's a detail, but
yeah, I mean, it's one of those things they're gonna have to do it anyway. I mean, somehow we're gonna be three-phase, it's gonna be underground.
Yeah,
And,
I can say in full confidence that Cole Ronan did their due diligence in determining the correct scenario for, the correct power for wherever it needs to go.
In the end, Eversource is gonna make that decision.
yeah.
There's no, that'll be in their purview.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
That's it.
Alicia or Peter have a question?
Peter, any,
No comments right now.
okay,
No,
Alicia, any further comments?
no, John, have there been many questions about the abatement or demolition, or do you think that was sufficiently
There
covered?
were a couple, which, Fuss and O'Neill responded to. There was some additional documentation, forms that were included in either addendum 2 or addendum 3 as well. But, no, there were not a lot of questions associated with the abatement that I remember. I don't know, Brian, if you recall a number of those, but I don't think there were too many.
Yeah, so there's 2 documents were in regards to a alternate method of abating, I believe. There were a few questions on, it was more or less existing conditions, where we have some drop ceilings and they were asking about what is the condition above the ceiling, what floors exactly are concrete versus, wood substrate. A lot of stuff of that nature, which were pretty straightforward to answer.
Okay, so we're pretty confident that most of the abatement scope was captured and we did our due diligence and we won't have any big surprises, hopefully.
Hopefully.
But based on the questions, we're confident there's not a lot of confusion around that. Okay, that's what I was hoping to hear.
Right, the selective demolition report was part of one of the addendums, Felicia, so I think that helped clarify and answer a lot of the unknowns as well.
And who
I think that's why we did it.
Yeah.
who authored this selective demolition report?
That's Fuss and O'Neill.
Fuss and O'Neill? That's right. That was, we're not talking about the final, the big demolition. We're talking about the selective in the
Yeah,
floors
the samples.
and the ceilings and, okay.
Yeah, no, we're glad we did that because that helped clarify for the contractors.
Mhm.
The work would be required.
Any further questions from anyone? We'll move on to public comment. we'll open it up for comments from anyone who's on. If you'd like to make, if you're on and you'd like to make a comment, please raise your hand.
Got one. Alex Products.
That has his hand raised?
Yes.
Yes. Alex, we're going to see if we can patch you in.
Hi there, good evening. Thanks for volunteering. Just a quick question, a follow-up to the theater package that was referenced this evening. It'll be public, but where's the best way for the public to find it? Is it gonna be emailed if we follow up with an email, or should we look for it on the website in the next few days? Thank you.
Certainly, I will be forwarding that to the building committee and to Jean Stevens. And she will be posting it on the town's website.
Thank you very much for your time and have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Alex. Are there any others? AJ, you got the,
No people with their hand raised.
okay. If we have no other comments, no other questions, no other public, I'd like to move for adjournment. All in favor, say aye.
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 Meeting adjourned.
All right.